Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 2, season 5 of the WOFF Podcast from Women of Fantasy Football. As you know, the purpose of WOFF is to amplify the voices of women in the world of sports. And every year we set aside some time with some wonderfully talented ladies to hear about their stories, their experiences in the world of sports and beyond. And we do this with an eye towards the future, as there's a new generation coming up every time. We've arranged a partnership with Laura Oakman's GALvanize, which is an organization that provides the tools for this next generation, but also women of all ages. It's not too late for me, y'all. And she helps to prepare them for the world of sports media. So to help Laura and GALvanize, we have put on a series of raffles. Each week we'll be giving away jerseys. So hopefully you got your tickets squared away. And 100% of those commissions go towards the WOFF GALvanize Scholarship Fund. This week's giveaways are a signed Bijan Robinson Falcons jersey and a signed Marshall Faulk Rams jersey. And we'll announce the winners at the end of today's show. Maybe before I introduce the guests, I'm not sure. Do I want to have the music now? Let's have the music, Josh. I'm out here just winging it.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. I'm just like, let's just read a bunch of words and roll with it. Because, Drew, you are our first guest. Drew Jones, you have been part of GALvanize, and you are our first guest this evening. Welcome, Drew.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here, and you guys do really, really awesome stuff. I love getting to see the recipients of y'all's scholarship get to go to boot camps for GALvanize this year. So really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming. I know Faith made a connection with you, and she's in election season working for the election board or one of those important things. So she's slammed, and I'm like, we got this. We're good.
Hold down the fort.
Holding down the fort. She also gave us some really good questions, so I'm glad for that.
Yay!
The first question, Drew, is a really obvious one, and it is, what made you go into sports journalism?
Yeah, I kind of stumbled upon sports media back in college. So I went to University of the Pacific in Stockton, California, a small private college, Roar Tigers, and I went to school with every intention of getting in the medical field. I wanted to be a doctor, and I took my first bio class, and I was like, well, this class is fun, but I'm not gonna have a social life. So I started kind of venturing off and trying to figure out what it is I actually wanted to do with my life, because I wanted to actually maintain a part of social life. Anywho, a friend of mine was like, hey, my other friend works for the newspaper. If you are interested, I was an athlete growing up. She's like, you should go write for the newspaper. So I became a sports writer and then went up to sports editor. And then I became the editor-in-chief. And right around that time, they kept talking about how newspapers were dying. So I said, maybe I'll go to grad school. So I went to USC and did my thing there, got a journalism master's degree. And so then just kind of went on with my career, and the rest is history.
That is amazing. I mean, look at you go. Just
I know,
out there
it's crazy
doing the
what
big
happens.
things.
Yeah, you just kind of talk with people, and they might even find your future for you, if you will.
That is so true. I think you just have to be open to the opportunities. I'm a big fan of listening to the universe around me.
Totally.
Seeing signs, hearing signs, reading signs. They're there if we're paying attention.
Oh, I look at license plates all the time. Anytime there's an angel number, I'm invested.
There you go. Well, after all of that, what was the first job that you ended up landing?
Yeah, my first job in sports, I worked for the Oakland A's. So I'm from the Bay Area and I grew up an A's fan. So it was really fun to get to work for my favorite baseball team. And I worked in the video production department. So basically what that department does is on game days, they put on what they call the board show, what everybody else would assume is the Jumbotron show. So I got to learn everything under the sun within a control room and how that works. And essentially the same kind of control room environment works for like truck shows, otherwise a television broadcast. So learned how to do replay operation, graphics, camera operation. Let me tell you, those cameras are worth a lot of money. And if you drop it, it's, I never drop it, but it was, Drew, don't drop the camera. But anyway, yeah, so around the same time, maybe midway through the season, I also got an internship with the West Coast Conference. So they have like Gonzaga, Pepperdine, Pacific as well. And so I was doing digital and social media there. So those were my first 2 jobs in sports.
I love that. It seems like you were able to pick up a lot of different skills that maybe you wouldn't have had in another position. So you're becoming a Jane of all trades of sorts.
Oh, totally. And honestly, the A's was probably the best place to work because like as a first job, because it's just like family. So it's a nice place to be like welcomed into the industry, which was really fun.
That is so great. I know friend of the pod, Adam Rink, he's always at Angels games. And the Angels group seems to be a really great group to be around too. I feel like being in California, I travel back and forth from Phoenix to California, and I don't have any affiliation, but I've been to a Dodgers game. That was a lot of fun.
Nice.
But the Angels posts that I see, and now you're talking about the A's, and I'm like, man, California sports have a friendly following. I don't know if Arizona's like that. I feel like we're more bandwagony in Arizona, but in California, people really have their alliances.
Have you been to a Diamondbacks game before?
Yes, yeah. I have been to a Diamondbacks game before. Maybe baseball might be the one that's got the best base, I would say. And that's for me hosting a Cardinals podcast. Cardinals fans are very cool.
I see. Yeah, I still have not. The Diamondbacks is actually my last ballpark on the western region that I need to visit. It's on my bucket list to see ballparks. I'll come down. I'll see you in a couple weeks, actually.
Okay. I will be home. I'm not coming back to California probably till the first week of September. So let's set something up.
I'm down.
Hey, Josh, I see a question in the chat from Mr. Scamper. Should we throw that one up?
Ooh, fun. I like questions. Yeah, fight on, of course. Yeah, we're the right USC. What sports did I play growing up? I'm sorry, I'm supposed to let you ask the questions. I played softball growing up. I also did martial arts, stance, and golf. But softball was my main sport, and I played competitively. Got to travel all over the country. Really, it's kind of funny because we played in some really hot places, and I don't know if you know this, but in recent years they've actually made like stipulations like athletes shouldn't play in temperatures above like 82 degrees.
Wow.
And I'm like, I was playing in like 90 degrees back in the day. We were playing like, anyway, but
no.
So softball was the main sport.
Softball's getting soft. Is that what we're saying?
No. It's just the IOC, I guess.
I just played golf. It was 110 a couple of weeks ago. That was not great.
Oh yeah. That's when you have to have a 6 a.m. tea time.
Exactly. Let's get back to the industry talk. What has been your favorite job or even favorite assignment to date now?
That's tough to say. Honestly, assignments wise, probably all the stuff that I've gotten to do with GALvanize has been a lot of fun. So for those, Kelly explained it a little bit, but GALvanize is an organization for women in sports. And so in the last couple of years, I've gotten some opportunities to really expand my skills, expand my network. I've gotten to go to the last 2 Super Bowls. So in Phoenix, in your neck of the woods, and in Las Vegas this year, and do some content interviews and creating content on Radio Row. And I think that's been probably the most fulfilling because that's essentially what I want to be doing with my life. I love having conversations with people. I love interviewing them, getting vulnerable. I also love doing feature stories. So that's probably been my favorite so far.
I love getting vulnerable too. I think that is the best way to create authentic content. I mean, otherwise, I could just sit here and read these questions verbatim or have some kind of skip memorized, but being able to participate and offer feedback and bounce things off of each other and share even if it's a little personal, because being in public, giving up too much personal information can be dangerous, but enough personal information to make you human, I think that's amazing. I love that you said that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's you hit the nail right on the head. I feel like athletes, coaches, I mean, even celebrities, we can throw them in the mix. Like everybody's a human at the end of the day. And I feel like when we humanize athletes, I think as fans, there's a little bit of relatability. Maybe somebody's story can resonate with you and inspire you, but also there are fans out there that kind of can treat athletes like they're, a clown in a circus, if you know what I mean. So, when you humanize somebody, it's like, well, you don't want to hate on somebody when they've got something going on at home, but they're still coming to the field and working really hard type thing. So it's really nice to be able to get to know people in that way.
For sure. Well, what are some of the biggest hurdles that you have faced so far in your career?
Well, I'm facing one right now. I actually, so I was working at Bleacher Report for about 3.5 years. And I guess it's been about a month now. I was laid off. So kind of facing a big obstacle. Well, it's not that big. I feel like everybody kind of, has some sort of setback in their career. It's been really nice to have my community really, praise me for my hard work at BR and really lift me up in this time and continue to help me expand my network, send me jobs, things like that. But so that's been kind of like the biggest hurdle so far, because I feel like everything, while it hasn't, as I'm kind of have more interest in production and broadcast, and I haven't been doing that as much lately. So maybe before I got laid off, the fact that I wasn't doing what I wanted to be doing would be considered the biggest obstacle. But now I'm kind of in this really awesome position where I can pick where I want to go. So while it's a hurdle, it's almost a blessing in disguise at the same time.
I agree. It really is, because just like you said, you kind of have your choice now, and you've done some things. You have, like you said, people in your corner. They're going to vouch for you. You have a visual resume to show. You have things that are going to just really launch you. I can't imagine that you're not going to find something really quickly and it's going to be perfect. I just feel it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a pretty good spot. It's almost humbling because you don't really know what you mean to people until they tell you, is kind of what I've learned in this experience, and the amount of messages I've received, people that I've worked with, people that like work with adjacent even at BR really came out. I mean, found my number, found ways to message me. So I was like, all right, this isn't such a bad thing. I get to, actually find my footing and do really what I want to be doing. So I have a choice now, which is kind of cool.
Absolutely. It's amazing. I think you might have touched on this. You mentioned how you got involved with GALvanize, but how exactly did you find out about GALvanize?
Oh yeah, this is kind of a funny story. So my aunt was watching Real Sports by Bryant Gumbel, on HBO. And they were doing a feature on Laura and GALvanize. So this is probably back in 2016, maybe end of 2016, beginning of 2017. And she's like, hey, I know you want to get into sports reporting, sports broadcasting. You should check this out. So I watched the package that they had created. I was like, oh my God. So I followed Laura, and I was so impressed when I got a follow back. I just was like, wait, she's really following back anyway.
Yeah.
So that's how I originally found. So without my aunt, I would have never found GALvanize. So I have to give her props probably every month. I let her know, thank you so much. But yes, that's how I found out about it. And my first boot camp with GALvanize was back in 2017.
Wow. I love that story. Such a good story. Go Aunt.
I know, right? Thanks, Aunt Erica.
Hey, Josh, I see we have two of the same questions in a row in the chat. Mr. Scampers and Gator J both want to know, who was your favorite interview, Drew?
Yeah, I've interviewed quite a few folks. I'm trying to think back into the Rolodex if there's someone maybe not in recent memory, but I'll just give you off the top of my head. So this past Super Bowl, I had the opportunity to interview Cam Newton, and our booth on Radio Row was right next to his. And so he's really close with Laura and came over and was like, "This is awesome what you guys are doing here," because we're all women too. He's like, "I like y'all's vibe. I'd love to sit down for an interview." And Laura said, "Well, when should we get you on the schedule?" He was like, "How about right now?" So I went into this interview with him with absolutely no prep. And it was a really awesome conversation. So I'd say that was probably one of my favorite, just from a skill set standpoint. And then also during that time got to interview Brian Urlacher, who his daughter Pamela and I are really close because she's also in GALvanize, and so we've gotten close over the last couple of years. So it's fun to be able to talk to my friend's dad, so it's been two of my favorites in the past year.
It's almost like a sorority in a way.
A little bit. Yeah.
Those friendships and those bonds and keeping them along the way.
Absolutely.
That's fun. Well, speaking of Super Bowl and Media Week, what was your biggest takeaway? I was also at Super Bowl week the last 2 years. And this last year, I think my biggest takeaway was for myself was to not be afraid to just ask, because if you don't ask, it's not going to happen. So anytime I saw a player walking by, I just asked. And I don't think anybody declined being asked a question or taking photos or anything. So that was amazing. What was your biggest takeaway from being a part of the Super Bowl the last 2 years in Media Week?
Yeah, so I would say after my first experience, just kind of being confident. I think I, came in and I had no idea what to expect. You walk into this room and it's like this grandiose, especially like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, this grandiose experience. There's 1,000 people in this room. There's athletes walking all over the place. So I kind of was like a little bit shelled within myself, just trying to take in the experience. And so I came in this past year with more confidence. So I think just being more confident within myself is what I learned. And then this year, so actually I completely lost my voice going into the last day of Radio Row. So I couldn't do any of the interviews that I was really, really excited about. And I actually have never cried in front of Laura or cried in front of any of my GALvanize sisters. I'm just not overly emotional in that way. I don't really like to cry in front of people. And I just was so almost like brokenhearted that I couldn't, like I physically couldn't. I literally had given my all like 4 days ahead of time. I physically could not ask a question. It was just, I was aspirating. So I was really upset. And I think just kind of learning that sometimes you can give the work to other people when you physically can't do it. And I really learned that I love this career a lot more, even like a lot more than I thought. And so that was kind of a beautiful moment for me. Sad and beautiful and bittersweet and happy at the end.
I mean, isn't that how lessons always happen? It usually makes us slow down, and then we really start to soak it in and learn what we were meant to learn. I found that out. I'm much older than you, and I can count so many times where life is like, hey, just take a minute, slow down, and then you're forced to, because you broke a leg or you lost your voice or you're
right. Life will make you slow down, right? Also, I'm still getting millennial vibes, so that's fine.
Millennial vibes, thanks. Well, let's see. What else do we have? Josh is collecting some questions from the chat. I see one about ballparks, Josh.
Oh,
Drew, have you been in any of the East Coast ballparks?
Yes, I have. So my family and my boyfriend actually are from Pittsburgh. So I've been to PNC Park countless times. And that's probably number one on my list. Been to Citizens Bank Park. Is it Citizen Bank or Citizens Bank Park in Philly? Mm-hmm. Where else have I been on the East Coast? I've also been to the Tampa Bay Rays Stadium. And it's so funny because I feel like people hate on the Oakland A's Stadium in Oakland. And I'm like, then you've obviously never been to Tampa. Yeah, I think that's it all on the East Coast. Yeah, so I've been to 10 total. I've got 20 more to go.
Wow, that's amazing. I have not been to Tampa, so it's not a very good ringing endorsement. But if you're going to make all the parks, you got to make all the parks.
Exactly. And I think, honestly, every park has something really awesome and beautiful about it. No shade to Tampa. I had a great time. They had a really awesome bar set up in center field. I just, no hate on Oakland either.
When we went to the Dodgers game, people were saying that Dodgers Stadium smells like pee. So I'm like, wait, what? I walked in and I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't smell like pee to me, but I guess everybody throws their own kind of shade.
It's funny you brought up Angel Stadium because when I went, I saw a bunch of cockroaches, like big ones too. And I was like, oh my God. But it's a beautiful park nonetheless. But, definitely there's some cockroaches around.
In the summer, those guys, they like to come out and they're big, fat, juicy roaches here in the summer. I'm in California right now, not far from Angel Stadium right now. So nice. I can speak to this with authority.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. Okay, let's see. What else we got here? Oh, this is a good one. What is some advice that you would pass on to other women who are considering a career in sports media?
Honestly, just do it. I think there's a lot of trepidation as women. I know there's a friend of mine actually from high school who was really interested in sports reporting, but she felt like she didn't see anybody that looked like her that ascended to, roles that she aspired to. And you can always be the first, Yeah. And I think that it's really important to just go for it and don't worry about what other people think. I thankfully have had kind of a really good experience by comparison to some other folks in the industry or, people past, they have shattered so many glass ceilings already that we don't have to experience the type of things that they've experienced. But yeah, just be confident and be okay with not knowing everything. I think that as women, we feel like we need to be like, yes, be prepared. I think that's really important, but I think it's okay to be like, hey, I actually don't know what player that is or what that person's resume is. If you could tell me a little bit more about that, or, I think it's important to be okay with not knowing everything.
That is such great advice because you're right. As women, I think we feel like we need to know. And if we don't know, then somehow we're not as good as the next person. And it's important to know that not everybody knows everything off the top of their head. And it's okay to be one of those people.
Right. Absolutely.
It's common. Totally. Nobody's an encyclopedia.
Yeah. And I know that often, I watch a lot of Inside the NBA and Charles Barkley can't remember half the players' names, and that's perfect. Nobody gives him crap for that. So. No.
And we love him.
And we do. We love Chuck.
Him. All right. I'm going to kind of wrap this part of our show up with Drew here. But since we are a show built around fantasy football, do you play fantasy football?
I do. It's funny. I took a break for a couple of years, and let me tell you, it was so nice to not have to worry about every other team except mine, which is I'm a Steelers fan. But I'm back in the fantasy football game. It's I was itching there for a couple of years. So I won my league last year, so I'm doing pretty good.
That might have been the answer to this question. Your most memorable moment playing fantasy football. Outside of winning, do you have any other fun stories from the league? If you don't, that's okay because I don't think I would.
You guys might like this. So obviously, like I mentioned, grew up a Steelers fan. And so I was really, really big on Kenny Pickett. And so the last couple of years, I actually drafted Kenny Pickett in my fantasy. It's kind of funny to talk about it now. In both, was it both of my leagues? Well, I think a league that I was in for work last year. So I drafted him, and it's funny because all the team names, so you can make some funny stuff. We're all like Fire Matt Canada and stuff and Picket Fence and all the funs. And Kenny didn't really play very much on my team last year. So I think that's the funniest part about it.
And you still managed to win. But
yes.
This year, Kenny Pickett not in the picture. So who are you high on this year?
At quarterback specifically for the Steelers?
Anybody. Just what player are you going to target, or did you target in your draft?
Oh, I feel like you can't not get the Steelers defense. I feel like every year I try to go for the Steelers defense, but I think that a sleeper pick, I actually probably not a sleeper pick anymore because he played so well last year, is running back Jalen Warren. So I feel like a lot of people like draft Najee Harris, and he's definitely a great running back too, but Jalen Warren actually puts up really good fantasy numbers specifically. So that's probably something I'm going after this year.
I love that you said that, because people need to realize that it's not the player totally. Like, of course, we need a talented player. It's not how good the team is even. It's that individual player and their ability to score fantasy points. So just because somebody's celebrated and does really well, they may not be meeting the scoring requirements of your league. So that's really important to pay attention to.
Pay attention to injuries too. Injury proneness is a thing.
Injury proneness is a real thing. Okay, before I do let you go, I see a big wait. A Steelers fan? How?
So my dad as you all can see, my last name's Jones. So the generations of Joneses are from Pittsburgh. So while I grew up in the Bay Area, my dad raised me right, and I'm a Steelers fan.
There we have it. Hey, Drew, do you want to announce the winner of our Marshall Faulk jersey? We can do one giveaway before we bring our next guest on.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Josh, why don't you come in and spin that wheel?
Hi, Drew.
Hey, Josh. Hello again.
All right. Pretty sure that one's the right one. Yes. Okay. Perfect. Love that. All right, cool. So real quick, I do want to quickly announce that this week we were able to raise an additional $545 for the scholarship fund. So,
that's so awesome.
Over the first 2 weeks, we've actually raised $1,410 through the 2 weeks.
Wow. Thank you so much. That's so awesome.
Good job, everybody.
Love it. Our partnership with Laura and GALvanize it's been life-changing for us. We love it so much. We love her, love everybody involved. And that's why we like bringing on, ladies like yourself that have experience with GALvanize and, kind of learn more about what GALvanize does to help women in this industry and keep pushing that envelope forward for us. So
absolutely. All right. Laura is what we in the biz call a goat.
Facts. All right, let's see who wins the Marshall Faulk jersey. Maybe. There we go.
Woo. Ooh.
Oh, ooh. That was close.
Josh Jacobs. Is that the Josh Jacobs?
No, it's not the Josh Jacobs.
That's a
Josh is he is a friend of mine actually that I play in several fantasy football leagues in, and something that he's actually won a couple jerseys from us in the past, and he works with a lot of retired vets, and usually what he does is when he wins the jerseys, he gives them to vets of fans of different teams. So I'm sure he's. Maybe I know he's a Cowboys fan, so he may not keep this one, but I'm sure it's going to find a good home. So.
Congrats, Josh Jacobs. That's awesome.
Well, Drew, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody that's listening, don't skedaddle because we have another guest coming on right after this. But yes, Drew, thank you so much for being a guest. We're so grateful to hear from you tonight.
Yay. Thanks so much for having me. This was a lot of fun. Hope to come back sometime in the near future, and good luck with your fantasy leagues this year.
We'll have to get you in one this year.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Have to get you.
I'm down to
real quick before you dip, Drew. I got to ask because I see you post this on Twitter quite a bit. Explain to me and everybody else, why is the West Coast the best coast?
So many reasons.
Speaking from an East Coaster.
Yeah. Well, weather for one. But I like you guys. Everybody's cool. Everybody's cool on the East Coast. Obviously, grew up a Steelers fan, so I like the East Coast somewhat. But yeah, I take a lot of pride in being where I'm from, and it's nice to have sunny skies just about every day. And I feel like each area's got their own culture. So I'm really prideful in what the Bay Area has to offer and the diversity. And 143 out of 592 U.S. Olympians, that's a lot. So I just really take pride in what we're able to put forth in the world, and West Coast, best coast.
Best coast. I love it. Good reason. I will say I do love watching sports when on the West Coast. I used to live in Las Vegas, and that was like waking up at like 9 o'clock. It's like, oh, wait.
Football.
I can have a beer right now because football's on. This is fantastic.
Sunday night football's over at 8 p.m. It's great.
That's amazing. Drew, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all.
It's been great getting to know you.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right.
Talk
Thank
soon.
you.
See ya.
I see you, Gator J, asking about earthquakes. OMG. I'm telling you, I'm never going to get used to it. My desk sits right next to the wall, and Trophy Smack's a huge concrete building with a concrete floor and everything. And when there's an earthquake, my desk, it goes like side to side, and then my chair goes side to side, and it makes my tummy feel like all rumbly. It's the weirdest.
Earthquakes are kind of scary. I'm not going to lie. When I lived in Vegas, I never had to deal with them. My mom served in the Coast Guard and spent time out in Oakland and Seattle, and she's experienced a few earthquakes. You know, it's definitely very different. I mean, living out here in Florida, we get hurricanes, obviously. Like nobody's really immune to natural disasters, but like you can prepare for hurricanes. You see them coming. Earthquakes just like happen, and you're just that is the scariest thing to me. It's like when you get blindsided by something like that could literally just like wipe away your entire house like that. That's freaky to me.
I mean, luckily they've been small and only enough to make my tummy feel rumbly.
You don't have to yet. Have you had to deal with any in Arizona, or just in LA?
No, I mean, I think there was one that like people said that they felt, but I don't. And I thought maybe I felt it, but since I actually felt them, no.
Oh, that's a good thing. That's good. That is good. Yeah, because that's freaky to me. Okay.
Oh, we have another guest.
Renee's not here yet.
She is not.
No, she's not here yet.
Well, I don't think that I knew that. So, hello.
How are you, Kelly?
Did we send her a DM?
We did, yeah. I DM'd her a little bit ago, just kind of waiting for her to pop in. But this would be a really good opportunity. We can talk about Trophy Smack and our fun partnership with Trophy Smack.
It would be. So Trophy Smack agreed to work with Women of Fantasy Football, and we have created a partnership called Ladies League, and it is sponsored by Women of Fantasy Football. And basically, we've created a couple of items that we're testing the market with for a female persuasion, but mostly it's not even the items. I think it is just the vibe, being able to showcase women drafting, women holding up their trophies, women wearing their championship belt or their championship ring. So all of the assets used in creating the page feature women. So that was a really exciting project for me. And the more people that we can get to show support for this Ladies League collection, the more items we'll be able to develop and release, because we're able to show that there's a market out there for women. Also, from what I understand, Josh, Women of Fantasy Football is donating their commissions for the month of August to GALvanize. So go out there, trophysmack.com/WOFF, and buy whatever you need. But if you want to see the Ladies League page, you got to click the little more button and choose Ladies League. But
I was gonna say, now's the time when everybody's buying draft boards for their home offline drafts. Like, get your draft boards, use that link, trophysmack.com/WOFF. It's all going back to GALvanize, and it's everything that we're doing with the raffles and trying to help women in this industry and build everything up. And there you go, Kelly, dropping it in the chat. Perfect. Love that.
Yeah, because you don't have to purchase from the Ladies League page, but please do go visit it just so I can get some extra traffic. Let me know what you think of the look and feel. I am modeling the loser vest. And then Mr. Scamper says, love the rose gold. Will there be an eternal trophy variant? That is my goal. So what I need is for people to show love for the rose gold, tweet at Trophy Smack, let them know you love the new finish, visit the Ladies League page, visit the rose gold belt page. It's featured in Trophy Smack proper as well as within Ladies League. And that way I can show that it's gaining traction. I would love to have a trophy variant. I would love to have a ring variant. I was so close to getting a ring this season.
Yeah, I feel like that's what people ask me about. It's like, oh, is there a ring yet? I'm like, that's a better question for Kelly, but not yet. But I know they will.
Show your support. I can almost guarantee that we'll have another additional rose gold finishes next season, but let's show love this season so I can prove it.
There you go. All right. I'm going to dip out because Renee is here. So let's take it away.
Hi. How are
Renee,
you?
I'm good. I'm in the Trophy Smack office in our makeshift studio.
That's cool. You're at LA?
I am. I am in I'm in LA-ish.
How was the expo, right?
What was that?
How was the trip from the expo?
Long. It was long. We had a medical emergency on the way to the expo and had to land and all that. On the way back, somebody put on the microphone, they're like, is there a doctor or nurse on the plane? No. And then Kevin and I look at each other like, no.
Not again.
Not again. But luckily it was just some small incident. Everybody, I'm just chit-chatting with my friend Renee. You can find her at Renee Freak NFL on the app formerly known as Twitter. But I want you guys to all get to know her like I've gotten to know her. Woo! So I'm just going to start with something really simple. Like, I know where you're from, but why don't you tell everybody listening, where are you from?
I'm from Guadalajara, Mexico. Here's where the tequila is made and the mariachi come from. So it's a great city. Yeah, it's not that big than Mexico City, but it's amazing.
I really would love to go there, but I'm afraid I'll get murdered.
That's a thing, but we used to be safe.
You can just pick me up from the airport, and I know you would keep me safe.
Yeah, for sure.
We have Zach in the chat. FF Chulupa Batman said you had him at tequila.
Yes. Here we have a lot of tequila.
Mexico is beautiful. It's such a beautiful country. And I love that I've gotten to get to know you and Hema. But especially you have really been participating in the community in a big way. You've gotten involved in a lot of different ways through Women of Fantasy Football, but also on your own. You started a new initiative. I know we kind of all fell off in the off season. On the field. Talk about on the field.
I mean, it's a little bit off, not off because the off season is a little bit hard to get in, but I wanted to pull out in the season. And it's like, not a blog, I don't know if it's called a blog, but I wanted to be a media, real media, just for women, because everybody can consume the content. But there's a lot of fantasy women in the industry, and they so many are so afraid to create content because, I mean, no everybody, but outside in here in Mexico is a lot. Just him and I do content because it's too difficult, because all the men are like, you don't know nothing about sports. You don't know nothing about fantasy. Come on, go to the kitchen and something like this. Here, this macho thing is awful. So I want to create a safe place so women can create content, and not just the women that already create content. There is going to be a lot of we already create content, but this woman, like, sorry, the AC from the airplane let me like with this cough. But this time at the expo, I met a lot of women that they know a lot about fantasy and they don't create content. So I want this safe place that they can start. And I don't know, maybe in the future it's going to be huge, but I hope it go well.
I hope so too. I think it will. Even myself, like, I was trying to like get people going and give ideas, and then I even got swept away in the off season. So definitely off season is tough. I think we can regroup. We're getting ready for the season, and basically there's a woman covering every team.
Yes.
On a volunteer basis. I'm going to do my best to cover 2 teams. I know you're covering all the ones that are not covered, but that's kind of the beauty of it, is that all of the content creators are women, but the content consumers, the ones reading and listening, that's everybody. So
Yeah, for sure. And it's a lot there, and there's place for everyone. I mean, in fantasy football, we all have different things, different ideas, and different, like, I don't know, you cannot predict anything in fantasy football, because look, now JJ McCarthy, he's out of the season, and that's happened. This is football, so we should be all creating content.
I agree. Well, here in the US, we have seen like a huge growth explosion of women playing fantasy football. I think right now the numbers are almost 50-50 men and women playing together. It's not as unusual as it had been years ago, but I know in Mexico, it's still, you had mentioned that there's still quite a bit of, male versus female men. You don't know how to play sports. You don't know anything about sports. But is it growing? Are you seeing more women playing fantasy football in Mexico now?
Yes, like year by year, more girls are playing, and that's amazing. I mean, a lot of girls come and write to Gemma, to me, and Gemma is making a bowl only for women, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
And here, I mean, they start playing, but they don't want to create content, or they want to, but they are afraid. So step by step, but yes, for sure, every year is growing.
I love that, step by step. I mean, 3 years ago, I met Gemma at Trophy Smack at Scott Fishbowl Live, and she was telling me, she's like, we listen to your podcast, and more women are getting into fantasy football, and keep making content. And that was so nice for me. And it also just made me realize there's not enough content out there. I mean, if you have to listen to me.
No, you make great content.
You're nice. You make great content.
Thanks.
How long have you been playing fantasy football, Renee? How many years?
Playing
Fantasy football.
Playing like now, oh my God.
How many leagues? Like what year? How old were you when you got in your first league? How many years ago?
Like 21. Now I'm 35. But the first years, I only played like one league. The league with my friends here in Mexico. and they were all men. And like when I was 25, 26, I started like 3, 4, and right now I'm crazy. I have like 30 dynasty leagues.
It's a lot. It is a lot. I know. I myself cut down from 28, I think. I think I'm down to 18 this year. So I got rid of 10.
That's amazing. Best ball is the best thing to do.
Best ball is, yeah. I need to get more best ball. I don't even know that I think I'm only in maybe like 5 sleeper best ball leagues, but I want to go do underdog best ball. Everybody talks about it.
My God, I want to play underdog, but here in Mexico, we cannot. I go to the booth at the expo and ask them, like, is there a way that I can play? And they say, like, no, because of the policies there or
the laws and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. And we cannot.
Bill.
Yeah.
Well, you went to the expo this year. You went to Super Bowl week this last year on behalf of Women of Fantasy Football and helped us create content. I see a comment in the chat from Great Gator J saying that the interviews you did were great this year, and I have to agree. I even said to Hema, I wish I could learn how to edit videos so quickly like you do, because you'll take the video, you'll do the interview, and then you're adding text, you're cutting in, and next thing I know, it's live already.
Yeah, I think if we were there, I multitask. I have to say, I have that ability that I can make a lot of things at the same time. But yes, it was amazing. I was at the Super Bowl and in the draft, and they were very different. And the Super Bowl was my first, like, that kind of cover.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit nervous. I was a little bit like, oh my God, how to get to the players. That's something. And then in the opening night,
yeah,
all the guys, the girls, the media are crazy. It's like, you have to gel a lot. You have to scream. You have to, and I was like, what is this? Like a jungle. But then you're used to it, and you have to go with the flow, because you are not going to get anything if you don't do it that way.
Mm-hmm. You're so right. I spoke on a panel at the expo about being part of the media at events like the NFL draft and Super Bowl. And one of my pieces of advice is, if you don't know what to do, just watch what everybody else is doing and do that, but better.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Well, you did a great job, I have to say. And I do need to learn from you. How do I get this done way faster? Maybe you can teach me sometime.
I can teach you that, and you can teach me how to make a lot of better questions, because I have it in my head because they are in English. And when it's everything like running that fast, everything happens so fast. And then they win me or the question or something, and then you black out. And when you get stressed or nervous or something in English, it's like, oh my God, my brain it's not working, because I have everything in Spanish. And it's like, it was a hard day, but I'm learning.
It's so true. It does. It goes fast. You get nervous, but you make it through, and you made it look like you're a pro. So good job. Let's see. What other questions do I have here? Oh, I know that you have a lot of animals. I want to hear the list of your pets and their names. Tell us about your pets.
I have 4 dogs. They're very different. I have a corgi that is Robin. I have a border collie that is Leia, and 2 that I rescue, and one is Dash and another is Rocket. And I have 6 cats.
6 cats. Do they all have names, or are they just cats?
No, they is Pepito, Tigresa, Fruity, Nigiri, Wasabi, y Maki.
Any other animals besides dogs and cats?
I can not have anything more, because if I have birds or something, they will eat them.
I just loved hearing about all your pets, and I'm like, oh my gosh. We have to talk about these pets. If you have more dogs and cats than Renee, I want to hear about it in the chat.
Yes, and just today, a friend called me like, we rescued 2 cats in the rain, and I'm like, no, come on, I don't want any more animals. But I'm like, I can see pets suffering or something because I that's so bad.
Oh, that's not. So you're gonna take them in. We all know this now.
No, I hope not. We found someone else.
Well, you travel a lot, Renee. What has been your favorite trip so far?
Oh my God. Sport travel?
Any kind of travel. Any travel that you've done recently. What has been your favorite trip?
Oh my God. I always try to go to sports, whatever I've been. But I enjoy it a lot of going to the US and watch NFL because the stadiums are huge. And for me, that I love NFL is so different. Being or going to a NFL game is amazing, the tailgate and everything. But I'm always at my phone and making content or something. Even if there's no NFL, there's something happening. And I went to Europe this like a month ago, and I was like, okay, now I can disconnect a little bit. And it was amazing because I used to live in Barcelona. I met old friends, and I really disconnect a little bit of myself. So it was the best.
That sounds like the best. Being able to disconnect and just enjoy the people and places around you. That sounds magical.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, time is flying. Okay. Let's talk about Freak Bowl. How did that get started?
The first year that I started creating content, it was the pandemic. So I start like 3 months before the season, and I was chatting with Gema, with Mao, with Alex Orellana, a lot of guys from Mexico that create content, and there were like 2 bowls, and I think I want a bowl, but a best bowl, because we have a lot of leagues, and I love to draft, and it started like that, like let's see what's happened, and we were a lot of people. I started it in August, and it went crazy. So every year I was thinking like something different to create a bowl that is a best bowl. You're not going to draft like so seriously. So we start making like weird rules and everything. This year is going to be 4 super flex. But
wow,
the quarterbacks have like negative things. So if you feel like all your team with, you can put 5 quarterbacks, but you can have negative points. So I don't know, you can have 6 wide receivers or 6 tight ends. You like tight ends?
Oh, I would like
6,
that.
6 running backs. You have to think it.
You have to think about it because the rules are different. It's not just I'm going to go get all the quarterbacks. There's strategy involved. And so how many years now then is that? This will be the fourth year Freak Bowl. That is so exciting.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow.
Oh, it's amazing. I see a question in the chat from Zach. If you could attend any sports event as a member of the media, what would it be? Any sports event?
The Super Bowl.
You had a great time. You were living your best life.
Yes, it is. So you at the end of the day, you're so tired because it's all day. But I mean, it's the sport that I like the most, the players that I know the most, and seeing for me seeing like Rob Gronkowski, Julian Edelman was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I love the Super Bowl.
You just see them. Yeah, it's the access that you get at Super Bowl week is it's way different than the NFL draft.
So different.
We're kept at a distance because you're in a press room, but at Super Bowl week, they're just everywhere, roaming around, doing interviews, and I agree.
It was so different.
Mm-hmm.
Both are amazing.
Yeah.
But they are so different.
Totally different. Yeah, I agree. Well, Renee, you're wearing Patriots gear. Is the Patriots your official team? Because you have a lot of gear.
Yes, I love every team because I enjoy it and making content. In playing fantasy, you love different players. Yeah. But when I was 8, I started like seeing NFL. Yeah. And I love the colors. All my teams are this blue, red, and white. Mm-hmm. The Chivas from Guadalajara soccer, Barcelona from Spain. And when I saw the Patriots, it was Drew Bledsoe, the QB. So I was like, I like that. Because I started watching it because the father of my best friend root for the Browns. And when you're like that age, I mean, brown and orange, I didn't like it. So I take the Patriots. And then Tom Brady comes in and the rest is history. And I still love Patriots. I love the Patriots.
You and Roxanne.
Yes.
She loves the Patriots too, and Tom Brady.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people goes away when Tom Brady leaves. And right now we are having a very tough time. And I mean, we don't need them. I prefer this kind of fans that if you're good and you're bad, they are going to be there. So it's cool.
I agree. Okay, last question. Do you have any bold predictions going into this season? Any hot takes that you want to share, Renee?
I have a lot of them, but I don't know which one. I have one rookie prediction that Troy Franklin and oh my God, Troy Franklin. What's the other name of this rookie? Oh my God. Troy Franklin and Coleman are going to have better season than Odunze. And
that is a bold take. I like it.
Yes. Odunze and Worthy like I love Troy Franklin this year. And you can draft him so late.
Yeah.
And another one is that Raheem Mostert is going to have a lot. I don't know if the same touchdown of last year, but I mean, we are drafting a Shane in first, second round. Yeah. And you can draft Raheem like so late. And I don't think that it's going to be that difference.
I don't either.
So
I do like your rookie takes though, because everybody seems to be on Odunze or Worthy, and we just don't know. But I like that.
Yes, and I think Tank Dell might have better season than Nico Collins. Not for a lot, but the better season.
Well, thank you so much, Renee. Do you want to stick around and announce the winner of our jersey? Josh will pop in and spin the wheel. All right, Josh, let's spin the wheel.
Hi, Renee.
Hello, Josh. How are you?
I am fantastic. All right, let's pull this one up. Where is it? There it is. All right. So, for those that maybe are here now but weren't here earlier when Drew was on and announced the Marshall Faulk winner, we were able to raise an additional $545 this week through these two raffles. brings our 2-week total so far to $1,410. The winner of the Marshall Faulk jersey was Josh Jacobs, and no, not that Josh Jacobs. So yeah, Renee, you ready? You want to announce this winner?
Yeah.
All right. We had 2 people buy 20 or more tickets just for Bijan Robinson. So I'm very curious to see who wins this. Oh, we might have a double winner.
Josh
what do you know?
Jacobs?
What do you know? That's not the first time that's happened. I love that. That's cool. Good.
Wow. Congratulations.
That's awesome. Love that for him. Love that for him.
Well, I know you're struggling. You got a little cough going on, and I hope that it doesn't stay with you long. I hope that that cough goes away.
It was a karaoke night.
Karaoke night, got that voice all strained.
Yes.
Well, as always, I love spending time with you. You're one of my favorite people. I'm so glad that we're friends, and I'm really looking forward to this season ahead with you, both as part of WOFF and as part of On the Field.
Yes, I hope it goes very, very cool for everybody, and to enjoy the season and stop the